So if you read the Reddit about Swarm, what you're going to see is that many people ask is that, oh, so Swarm is going to store all sorts of content on my hard drive. So that means that I can get into trouble with law enforcement. In that case, I would rather not run this Swarm thing at all. And that is precisely the most dangerous thing that we would like to find. And plausible deniability is just one of the things that we can do. Mostly there are three different players whom we will consider, and using the tradition of cryptography, we will call them Alice, Bob, and Charlie. Alice is a user of Swarm who wants to upload content. Bob is the consumer of that content, and Charlie is just one participant in Swarm who is neither the uploader nor the downloader. And this special Charlie that I marked here is the Charlie who happens to be nearest with his address, with his Swarm address, to the content that Alice wants to upload and Bob wants to download. So Charlie is the node in Swarm who actually stores the content that we're talking about. And as a cryptographer, I will be concerned about Eve and Mallory. Eve is the eavesdropper, so she's passively listening on connections. And Mallory is controlling one or more malicious nodes. But as a free speech activist, I'm concerned about this third character, Sam, who employs many Eves and Mallorys. And he's controlling law enforcement. And plausible deniability is just one of the things that we can do in order to raise the costs to Mallory, Eve, and Sam. And what we want to actually achieve is that it becomes so complicated that they will be frustrated so many times in their efforts that it will not be worth for them to pursue censorship and so on. We need to do something clever. And now I'm putting up on my cryptographer hat. So I prepared a little bit of demonstration for you. So there's a cryptography technique invented by Claude Shannon in 1947, which is the one-time pad. So what you do, you take a piece of information, you split it into two completely random pieces by XOR. So this, what I'm doing on the paper, is described on this fairly self-explanatory graphic. If you're interested, just think about this and you will figure out how it works. So what it does is you have these two pieces which are entirely random, but if you align them with each other, here you see Tux the penguin, the Linux mascot. This is not infringing content, this is free content. But the point is, that if on his hard drive, Charlie will have these two pieces, he has nothing to fear. And with this kind of encryption, you actually have a fair amount of degrees of freedom. So you can essentially control, with a process very similar to mining, the content hash of both of these pieces. Because you have so many bits to change, you can keep trying until you can actually have a hash which is at a given, not too close distance from a given node. In particular, if you want these two pieces to be on different ends of the network, all you have to do is to try long enough, which is on average only 4 attempts, so that the addresses of these two the addresses of these two chunks differ even in their first bit. So one of them will go to in this direction, and the other will go in that direction, and they will never meet on the same Charlie. And why it is important that they never meet on the same Charlie? If you recombine these two here, So this one is suddenly infringing content, as you can see.
It's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's Mickey Mouse. So as you have seen, we had 2 copies encrypted of Tugs the Penguin, and none of you were any wiser to what you have actually kept in your hands. And with proper addressing, I could make sure that the infringing content would never recombine on the same Charlie's hard drive. Nevertheless, if Bob asks for the right hashes, she would receive chunks which would recombine into infringing content, into Mickey Mouse. In this case, the point is that none of these 4 pieces of paper by themselves can be used as evidence. Because for any of these papers and any content, an additional piece of paper could be produced that decrypts to that particular content. The unfortunate consequence of this is you need 100% overhead. So this requires exactly twice as much information as the original content. But in some cases, this might be a perfectly acceptable price to pay. And by carefully choosing the actual masking data, you can always be sure that Charlie will not have infringing content on his hard drive, whoever Charlie is. So all you need to do is to take 4 attempts so that the 2 parts are different even in their first bit.